morning, everybody. This morning I want to think about the transforming power of Christ and just the thought that who I am now, who you are now, is not the end. It's a process. All that we are in Christ will never ever change. What will change is how transformed we will be into his likeness. And just to think about this, I want to look at a young man in the New Testament called John Mark. And what drew my attention to him was on one of the missionary journeys. He had been with Paul and Barnabas. Barnabas was his cousin, and they began really well. And as far as we know, John Mark was doing well. But after they left Cyprus, he decided to leave. He just went home. We have no idea what went wrong. The Bible doesn't tell us. Maybe he was just disappointed. Maybe his expectations were really, really high of what this was going to be like. Maybe he wasn't prepared for the hardships of life as an early evangelist in the church. Maybe there was a row. We just do not know. But what we do know is that Paul was really mad at him, because later on, when Paul and Barnabas were going to go on another journey and Barnabas suggested bringing John Mark with them, Paul said no, very, very definitely. And it ended up that Paul and Barnabas went their separate ways. But I think it's really encouraging, and Barnabas's name means son of encouragement. Barnabas went back and he took his young cousin with him back to Cyprus. And I think this implies that although John Mark was a younger guy, he hadn't given up on his faith. Yes, he'd gone back home. Yes, he'd left them, didn't make a great start, but he still continued on. And it wasn't the end. So we know that towards the end of Paul's life, Paul writes to Timothy, "Get Mark and bring him with you, because he is helpful to me in my ministry." Another time in Philemon, Paul classes Mark as a fellow worker. So we can see that there was a transformation in his life. What is particularly interesting was that this young guy who started off maybe not so well ended up writing the third gospel. The Gospel of Mark was written mostly to the Gentiles, or to us. It wasn't particularly written to the Jewish people, and it's often used as an evangelistic gospel. We know that Peter thought of Mark as a spiritual son, and I think that can be a real encouragement to us, that very often in our lives we need something more. We need the transforming work of Christ. It says in 2 Corinthians chapter 5 verse 17 that any of us who are in Christ are new creations. So hold on to that today, because it's not you or it's not me that transforms us. It's Christ. And maybe you'd like to read the Gospel of Mark. It was one of the earliest that was written in probably around AD 55 to 59. But Mark is remembered for a young guy who went through his life and that serving Christ. And that's like us. We are being transformed. Who I am now it's not the end of the story, and that's the same for you. So be encouraged today. Thanks for listening.